A really interesting podcast this time. I had a customer who bought a brand new coffee table here, and it's too big. And she asked me to cut this coffee table apart and make the only reason that I'm going to attempt to cut this thing apart. We're going to cut the table in half and make a smaller cocktail table. And then the other half of the table, we're going to cut that in half and make two little end tables for the couch. And hopefully we're going to be able to recreate the finish on it. And the first step is to tear this thing apart, see how many pieces I can get out of it. It'll make it a lot easier if I can separate the top from the carcass, if I can separate the legs from the carcass. And so I'm just going to start taking it apart. Alright, got that off. Well, there you go. There's the cart point and no return here. We're going to cut this cabinet. Let me get my fence set. Well, it's cut up. We got some expensive firewood here, if nothing else. A lot of people watching this might think that this is just absolutely crazy to be cutting apart a new piece of furniture like this. And when I was first asked to do this, I got to say I thought it was crazy too. But the lady had a good point that she bought this, it wasn't working in her furniture design, and she didn't want to just put it in the basement or upstairs somewhere because she really liked the look and the finish of it. And she felt it was worth spending some extra money to try to do it. And I explained to her that, you know, I felt I could do it, but there's a chance that I could just cut it up and turn it into matchsticks and firewood too. And she was okay with that. The other thing that I explained is that I knew what the end goal was, which was to make 3 pieces of furniture out of this one coffee table. And I kind of felt in my mind that certain things had to happen. The most important thing was that I had to be able to separate the carcass from the base and the top from the carcass. Because if I couldn't do that, then there's no way that I could get in there and cut things up. And so the first step was to deconstruct the unit. and as I was deconstructing it, I had to reassess what I wanted to do. If I couldn't get the top off of the drawer unit, then I would have probably stopped right there. But I had a good idea that I could, just from when I was looking at the unit at her house. What I wasn't sure about was about getting the base off of the unit. But by the time I get done cutting up the base and refitting it, I felt that at that point, if I had to, I could just remake the entire base, and it wouldn't be that big of a loss. Obviously, this isn't something that you would want to attempt if you didn't have some experience with building cabinets or building furniture. The other thing that's very important, I feel, is that you have to have a quality table saw. It has to be a tool that you trust and know that it's going to do what you need it to. The next step is to start reconstructing the drawer carcass. And, you know, I spent probably a good hour, hour and a half going through in my head each step that I was going to have to perform to put this back together. And now that I have cut it apart, it gives me a little more information. I will reconstruct it according to this dado here, using the dimensions that I measured here. And I can't stress the importance of, you know, one of my methods of work is I build what I have to in my head before I ever turn this on. I mean, I have to know exactly each operation, how each piece is going to fit together, what tools I'm going to use, how I'm going to do it, what kind of joints I'm going to do, and that allows me to hopefully foresee any problems before I start, and stops me from some aggravation. So the next step is I'm going to cut this free, or actually undo the screws or something, I'm not sure what. But I will have to recreate a back panel. This is going to have drawers. We'll have the drawer front here, and then the back side will be a panel like this. And I think that's going to be the easiest part of the project, other than just cutting the top in half. I think a hard part is going to be redoing the base. And I've given it some thought, and I'm pretty sure I can reconstruct it by just cutting it down. But I haven't taken any actual measurements yet. Like I say, if worse comes to worse, I can just fabricate a new base for it and not even worry about that one. Luckily, it's a fairly simple design. It's just a flat recessed panel. I got to duplicate a couple of these grooves in here. I was trying to figure out if I wanted to use solid oak and try to stay true to the design, but you know, it just seems crazy to me. We're cutting apart a brand new piece of furniture. We're putting heavy faux finish paint on it. I'm just going to use some pine. Probably just cut up some 2x4s or whatever I can find, basically. So I'm going to get started. All right, I got the panel made, and it was just made with basic joinery. It's a 3/4 inch panel, 1.5 inch pine frame. I used a pocket jig to assemble it, and I'm getting ready to assemble it onto the carcass now. All right, we got to put back together. You see the back is on. And this was pretty simple. This is basic joinery here. Use pocket holes, pocket jig, and screws to attach it. And you can see the pocket holes. Some of my marks there. And next I'm going to start on the back, and I gotta kind of figure out what to cut and how to cut that, because it's a little different than the carcass. So we'll sit down and figure that out. Here's a shot of it back on the base. The detail that I got to work out is this right here. You can see that the carcass actually sits down in a rabbet on the base. And we'll have to figure out how much we're going to cut off and replace. So that's the thinking right now. All right, I'm getting ready to cut the top or the base, and you can see that there's a lip on there that's about a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch, and you can also see that the legs have that lip cut in there. And that would not be easy to do because it's all end grain. And what I decided to do was to cut all the legs that I needed and gang them together and then route out the top. So what I did is over here, and what I did is I cut all the legs and put 4 of them together to create a good solid base, and then I took the router, and you can see I've got a different kind of shoe on there. I find that real handy to do hinges and stuff like what I'm doing right now. So that's that. I also cut the top in half. So there's a good chance I'm going to be able to get this done today. Well, there it is. I got the base done and got it all put together. I think it looks pretty good. Let me turn it around here. So there's the back, and got a little more distressing to do of the legs and the top. I got to round over that top edge a little bit, do a little wormholes and gouging and stuff like that, but all in all, I think it came out pretty good. Tell you the truth, I never would have guessed it would have come out this good and been this easy. So, got 2 more cabinets to make, the halves, this part. Guess we'll get started on those maybe tomorrow. It was a fun project. It was a challenging project. It was like a puzzle, trying to figure it all out. And it was exactly the kind of work that I like to do. I love the challenge, love the creativity involved, and I like doing stuff that a lot of people won't try to do, and I especially like it when it comes out. So, I'll talk to you later. Oh, in case you're wondering, it took about 14 hours to do this. 12 to 14 hours. So, keep that in mind if you ever bid one. Hey everybody, just thought I'd give you an update on this coffee table project. I spent the last couple days rebuilding the other halves into two little tables, and I didn't want to really film it because basically I just had to get it done. But it was pretty much like rebuilding the other half, except that there was more parts to this. I had to rebuild the back and the side. And then what really turned into the challenge here was building the table base. Because once I cut it in half, I only had the part of the front and the side, and I had to redo the other two sides and make the little legs and all that. And so today, I'm going to start to refinish it. And believe me, I do not have a lot of skill at refinishing. I usually just build stuff and then it gets finished. But I've always wanted to try this crackle finish and glazing and distressing the furniture. So I thought we'd give it a try here. And the thing is so distressed the way it is, I figured I can't really screw it up that much. So I'm going to start off by sanding it out and trying to make it look distressed. I'll get some close-ups of the existing table, and you can see that it's been battered and beat up, and wormholes and dents and all that kind of stuff to show age and wear. So I'll take some shots as I go along. The first thing I'm going to do is make up a board and try out the different processes to it. As far as I can tell, it looks like the unit originally was given a white coat of paint and then a kind of a green wash on top of that white paint. It just kind of worked into the dents and everything. And over that was put the crackle finish, and then on top of that was another coat of white paint or maybe a tinted paint. And once it crackled, it looks like there was some pigment rubbed into it to accent the distress and the age. And then I imagine it was given a coat of clear to help protect that. So basically that's what we're going to be doing. Well, I just realized as I was setting these up to take shots at them that there's a small detail that I'm going to have to take care of. And what it is this tenon, or it's a false tenon, I guess, to make it look like it was built with tenons, through tenons. But you can see that once I cut the table in half, that it's not over here. So what I'll have to do is route a little pocket and put in a false tenon. And while we're looking at it, you can see how the top is distressed. These grooves here just simulate, you know, boards. They're not true. Actually, they don't even match up with how the board was glued up. They were just cut in there. And you can see the distressing and the pigments that were rubbed in. Let's go look at this over here. Oh, I just wanted to show you that there's a permanent ring on there, I guess to make it look like a dirty glass or something was set down on it. Then you can see the sides here, some more distressing. Looks like they used a chisel or a wire wheel and just made it look old. All the corners are rounded off and chipped, and like I say, I don't really think I can screw it up, so this should be fun, duplicating this. Well, this is where I'm starting at. I took about a quarter sheet of plywood and I painted half of the background white and half of it kind of a yellowish, goldish brown color. And I know it's hard to see, but I've got basically three colors then that I'm mixing. I've got a darker brown, a chocolate brown, and then a green, like an olive drab green. And then I'm also using the gold. And I'm trying it at different thicknesses. Some of it I thinned out with water, and I blended them together. And I'm just trying to get a feel for, once I start on the piece, how much pigment I need to use to get the effect that's desired, and how much color I need to add to get the desired color. And all I'm using is just some house paint here. This is the brown, this is the green. There's a good idea what the green color is. And this is just chocolate brown over here. So depending on what I start with, whether it's white or tan, and how thick I put the pigment on, or if I turn it into just a wash, I'm going to put my crackle finish on now and then go over it with a white paint and see how much of the different colors. Alright, well here's all my pieces that I've been working on, and what I've done is I went ahead and distressed them with some assorted tools and files and ground down corners and made marks on everything. Hold on, let me move this around. All right, maybe you can see some of the distressing I did. Just rounded rounded corners. Tried to duplicate the different things that I saw on the piece. Let's see if we can switch over to this one. There we go. Put some fake cracks in there. Rounded off everything. Like I say, there's not, you can't really do anything wrong. You know, you just do it. It's all going to look fine. It's all going to be fine. Alright, well here's my board I did again. And you remember that I put a coat of white on, and then I put some pigment on it, just some paint I had. Then I put a crackle finish coat on it, and then I painted it white. And the only thing I'm really looking to do is to see how that crackle finish looks. And I don't like the look of it. And I think what I did is I put the finish on too small, or too thin. So I'm not getting a real good crackle. And according to the directions on the can, I can get a heavier crackle finish, bigger finish, if I double coat it or put it on thicker. So when I do, I'll probably end up doing another sample and try putting it on thicker. But what I did find is the color that I need to use. And that color is right there, and it doesn't look like much anything on the camera. But if I pan up here to that, you can see how the background color in the cracks is similar to the background color there. And what that color is it's the gold with a little bit of green on it, or the green and the gold. But it's separate. It's not gold mixed with green. It's the gold and then green washed over it. So looks like that's what I'm going to end up having to do. But what I'm going to do is paint everything white and then go over it with the gold and then go over it with a little bit of green and darken it up. And like I say, I'll try another sample piece here to see if I can get a bigger crack pattern. That's it. Hey everyone. Well, what I'm doing right now is there's these false tenions that have to be cut into the top from the smaller tables that I made. So what I did is I routed out a pocket and made some small fake tenions to put in there. And now it's just a matter of putting them in and gluing them. So I'm going to try to get a close-up. There's the pocket right there. And I'm going to take one of my false tenions and cut it. As you can see, I routed in the pocket for it. And I made my little tenions, fake tenions, on the table saw out of some of the scrap that I had. Now I'm just clipping the ends of these pieces so that I don't have to try to square out the tenion. It's just a lot easier that way. The other thing I've been working on is trying to get my crackle finish down, and I found out quite a few things over the last 2 days. Started off with a product made by Sherwin-Williams, and and I just wasn't happy with it. The crackle was too small. Well, compared to what's on here, the crackle was too small. And I was looking for another product. ML Campbell has crackle finish products, but all their stuff has to be sprayed on, or it's catalyzed or pre-catalyzed finish. Now that could be a problem. I got a crack in there from me pounding on it. But you know what? This whole project is supposed to be distressed, so I'm not even going to worry about it. I am not even going to worry about it. I'm going to try to get it cleaned up as best I can, and I'm going to put it in there and go with it. Yeah, that just adds a little bit more character to it. And that was one of the reasons that I took this project on, is because I felt that I didn't have to be so concerned about the finish on it. I mean, I'm still doing a quality job, but the whole piece is supposed to look distressed and old. So little problems like that just turn into the patina of the piece. And there you go. That one doesn't sit kind of as straight as the other ones did, but hey, the tenon was turned when it got put in there. It wasn't cut right. So, there you go. Let me show you a couple of samples I got for the crackle finish. Alright, this is the piece here that I'm trying to duplicate. This is a piece I cut out, and you can see the approximate size of the crackle finish on that. This was one of the samples here. You can see that it's a lot smaller in size. And then I started playing with it, and I got to this stage here, which, isn't too bad, but, it's not right. And I played with this over here. What you see here is a background, my background color, a wash that I did. And I can't get it exact, and no one really expected me to get it perfect match. But I think that for just a cursory look of the piece as you're walking through a room, it's going to be fine. You can also see that I did different background colors. That's a brown, and then I did a wash over the brown to give it some highlights, which it's really hard to do on camera. And then a white coat on top of the crackling compound, and then kind of a wash that I'm still kind of playing with and working that out. I'm confident that it's all going to come out looking just fine. Here's the piece with the background color on it. We're going to start the crackling process. And the whole purpose of that brown coat, well, the gold brown, was to get some highlights in there. And you can see that brown color right there is what I'm looking for. And over that I put a wash coat to tone it down and give it some grain. Okay, I'm starting to apply the crackle finish, and it looks to me like the crackle finish looks like a thin glue. And I found through doing my experiments with it that it's best for my application, if I put 2 coats on. So I put on a very light, well, not a very light, just a regular coat. In the directions, they talk about putting on a generous coat, whatever that means. But I found that if I put on just a regular coat and brush it out like I would be painting, and then put on a second coat, it seems to give me the effect that I'm looking for with this piece. And I would always strongly recommend to always do a practice board all the way through with all your processes from start to finish. That includes sanding and cleaning in between each coat. I also noticed when I was doing this that depending on the direction you apply the crackle coat, and to some extent your top coat, is kind of what determines the direction that the paint cracks in or crazes. And you can, when you do your project, you can do some sample boards and find that out for yourself. Some of the interesting things were that the heavier that you put this on, and I mean heavy to the point that it's running in drifts, determines the size of the crack finish. And some of the other things that determine the crack finish is the thickness of your top coat. And once again, the thicker you put the top coat on, the heavier the crack is. And there are lots of variables doing this. How long do you let it dry? How thick do you put it on? How many coats do you use? What direction do you go? So it basically took about 2 days in the shop here to get things figured out, in my mind at least. According to the directions on the can, you just paint it on and you're good to go. And that may have been the case if I wouldn't have been trying to duplicate the finish that was already on the piece. So, I had to keep that in mind too, that, the directions on the can were good if you were just doing a piece that you didn't have to match. But I didn't have that luxury. And it is kind of foolproof in that you really can't screw up. While I was doing this, I had a limited number of boards that I was working with, so a couple of times I just went over the same board that already had crackle finish on it, which was really kind of a nice effect in that it kind of gave it a double craze. And I could see where you could do that twice with different glazes, and it'd give it a very interesting effect. You really don't have to be, you don't have to be too careful about anything. So I'm going to put this first coat on, and then I'm going to let it dry. And that was the interesting thing too, was determining, you know, how far to let it dry before you put your top coat on. And you could put the paint on top of this as soon as it started to dry. And what I mean by that is as soon as it was, you know, dry to the point where it just barely transferred onto your hand, if you touch it, you could put your paint on and it would start cracking. And it does start cracking immediately. If you put the paint on your top coat and then brush over it, it drags the top coat finish right off and really makes a mess. So you have to commit, put your paint on, and just let it do its thing. I'm going to try to capture that on camera once I get to that point. So thick that it actually starts to run. So I'm going to have to turn this piece back up on its side so it's laying horizontal. But a couple more minutes and we'll be putting the top coat on. All right, here we go. It's been about 20 minutes, maybe a half hour since I put the second coat on, and I'm getting ready to put my top coat on. Some of the precautions I have to take are that once I put the paint on, I can only go over it maybe one time, twice, before it'll start to pull loose and just ball up on the surface. The second coat of glaze is drying, and you can still see some wet areas, this milky color, but in other areas it's tacky. And I found that that's the time when I have to put the top coat on. If I let it dry to where it's dry, the glaze, the crazing is too small for what I want. So I have to do it a little on the wet side. The tough part's going to be that since I can only brush it once or twice, I have to be careful about doing this and going over here and over here. And I'm not quite sure how that's all going to happen. It may just turn into one big mess here on camera. But we're going to give it a try and just do what's going to happen. I'm going to start on this panel on the inside and work my way out to the outsides. So here we go. In addition to putting it on in one stroke, you have to also put it on evenly, which really kind of makes it tough. You gotta kind of load your brush up and just go with it. And I don't even think I'm getting it on heavy enough at this point to where I'm going to get the size crazing I want, but I just got to do the best I can do. It doesn't really matter if it runs. It seems that's part of the whole process of the crackling, is that the crackle medium either is expanding or drying or something. I'd really like to find out exactly what's going on with it. Well, there's the phone, but I can't answer it. And I don't know if you can see, I'm going to try to stop here in a minute and get a close-up of of what's going on here with the crackle. I'd also like to experiment with a sprayer to see how that works with it. I'm not sure who's calling me, but I'm just going to have to wait. All right, the panel's done. Let me get a close-up here, and you can watch this stuff crack. All right, you can see the cracks developing, and I see the cracks getting pretty big here. I think to save the piece, I'm going to have to turn it up on end, which means you won't be able to see anything. So I'll show you what it looks like when I get done. Well, there you go. I guess the crackle is a little bigger than what I would have hoped. And at this point, it looks like there's more of the background color showing through than what I would like. But those are all things that I can remedy. I think in general the essence of the crackle is there as compared to the other pieces. And for a cursory look, it should be just fine after I get done doctoring it up. Hey everybody, welcome back. Well, over the last couple days I've been putting the finish on here, and it turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it, and I think it matches the existing finish well enough that no one's ever going to notice. It was a great product to use, this crackle finish. Gives the piece a lot of character and makes it look very distinctive. Some of the things that I ran into was when I was doing the crackle, I felt that the background color was a little bit too dark compared to the other finish that was on there. So I ended up putting just a light whitewash coat on it to kind of deaden the color, the background color a little bit. And I think I may have went a little too much white in there, because when I went to put my wash finish on, I couldn't get the pigment to stick down in those little cracks there as much as I wanted to. The other critique I have about it is the crackle finish that I used left too big of a crackle compared to the other finish that was on there. And I'm assuming that might be because I brushed it on and the original finish was sprayed. Whereas, and I'd like to experiment with that. I'd like to try spraying some of the crackle finish. But it was a fun project, and I'd tell anyone who's trying to do it to go ahead and do it. And I think you'll be happy with your results. And you know, if you get into a project and you're having trouble with it, just drop me a line at my website, and I'll be more than happy to help you with it, give you any recommendations, or you know, make the project come out good. So this piece is going to be leaving the shop here in about 2 minutes, and I'm anxious to find out from the homeowner if she likes it. Hey everybody. Well, the cabinets are done. They're getting ready to get shipped out any minute now. And just thought I'd get a snapshot of them here before they go out the door. It's been a couple of days since I took any video of it, and I've just been busy in the shop, and thought I'd better get a shot of them before they leave, so you can see the end of it. I'll turn them around so you can see the different sides. Obviously, these are the drawers, and I had to cut them down, and actually had to make 2 sides for these cabinets as opposed to just one. And I think we did a pretty good job. Once again, the crackle finish did not come out perfect. This is the original factory finish. This is what I was able to do with the finish I had. And you can see it's just a different shape crackle. But once again, I still say that you know, the feel is there, the intent is there. And you know, let's face it, these sides here if they're end tables, they're going to be, you know, against the wall or tucked up against the side of the couch. And I feel it matches well enough that no one's really going to be the wiser. But it was a fun project, and I would like to experiment with it again on another possible project, future project. And, you know, the thing that I really wanted to tell you is basically don't be afraid to do a project like this. It sounded, well, when I first heard about it, it sounded like an absolutely crazy project. Absolutely crazy. But, you know, it's not. We made 3 pieces of furniture out of 1 piece, and you know, the homeowner is going to be very happy about that. So, good luck if you try this, and stop by often.